Hey friends, welcome back to Queer Gravel. My name's Abby Robbins, and for those of you who don't know, I've had kind of an interesting journey into the bike industry. And by virtue of that and being a parent, my house is full of bikes. So today, I thought it'd be fun to show you every bike in my garage. Before we dive into that though, I wanted to let you know, if you're watching this on the day it comes out, it's my birthday. Hooray! And in honor of my birthday, I'm gonna offer you a little bit of a gift, and that is you can hop over to perkcoffee.com, follow the link down in the description, and get 31% off. It's a crazy deal. It's their big deal day. Follow the link down in the description and get you some crazy good coffee. If you're a bike packer or any sort of adventure rider, I highly recommend their instant packets. Is by far the best instant coffee I have ever had in my entire life. I can't recommend it enough. I am a Perk ambassador, but I am fortunate enough that I have never had to work with a brand whose product I didn't believe in. So take that for what it's worth. All right, let's dive into why you're really here. Let's get to the bikes. Now I'm gonna give you a super quick overview of each one of these bikes because obviously there's a lot and I don't want this to turn into an hour-long video. So I'm gonna give you a super quick rundown, and for the bikes that I have longer form videos, I'll drop links to those down below. If there's a bike that you wanna know more about, let me know in the comments. So we're gonna get started with the Momentum Pack Yak E+. This is basically my daily driver. I ride this bike probably more than any other bike because it's replaced my truck. I've been able to use this bike to do everything from hauling lumber to doing meal deliveries to carrying kids to school. It's an all-around workhorse and I absolutely love it. Some of my favorite key accessories are the Redshift Arclight pedals. I love these things. They are really smooth pedals and they just so happen to light up with smart lights, which is super helpful. I love that this thing can be super decked out. The other thing I really love is the ABUS frame lock. Super easy security. I'm gonna do a whole video on that down the road, so stay tuned for that. Now, keeping with the theme of truck bikes or bigger e-cargo bikes, this is the Momentum Cedo E+. Now, this is a bike that I got last year through my contract as a Momentum ambassador. I haven't ridden it as much as my wife has. Because I have the Pack Yak already, my wife kind of took over this bike, and I've really only been exploring it in a really kind of heavy sense in the last 6 months or so. I'm gonna have a full video out on it soon, because it's a very interesting bike and it's very different than the Pack Yak. So if you've seen the Pack Yak video, know that this bike really stands on its own. Does it do a lot of the same things that the Pack Yak can do? Yeah, but it's really its own unique ride and experience. A couple things that I really love about it are the integrated horn and the integrated turn signals. These are things that are just kind of really handy to have on a dedicated commuter bike. Like I said, my wife's been riding it a lot more than I have, but I really love that this bike feels super accessible and welcoming to people who might not necessarily consider themselves cyclists. A big e-cargo bike can feel kind of intimidating, but even my 10-year-old can ride this and feel really confident and have a great time. So now we've seen the bigger truck bikes, and I'm gonna kind of stay in that vein with my dedicated commuter bike. So I bought this bike last summer when I knew that I was going to be commuting to school a lot more frequently. And I didn't feel particularly comfortable leaving a $3,000 to $5,000 bike at school every single day at the same time in the same places. So for security reasons, I decided to get another bike to kind of rotate in and out. And honestly, it's just nice to have an acoustic commuter as well. So I picked this guy up off Facebook Marketplace. It is the All City Super Professional. When I bought it, this frame set color came single speed, and I rode that around for a while, which I like, but I realized that my school commute really required some gears, so I put Shimano Qs on there. I'm gonna have a full video out on Shimano Qs for commuting coming up, because I think it's a really interesting group set for commuters to check out. I love this style of bike, a very simple, straightforward steel frame. Makes for a great commuter. Obviously, I've got the basket on the front and a couple bags. I absolutely love my Dark Realm Wald 139 basket bag. I have one on the Pack Yak as well. It's an incredible bag, and it really just looks super cool. Now, this might be one of my favorite bikes of all time. This is what I would call a forever bike. I will never sell this bike. This is the bike that I was looking for from the moment I tried to get into gravel. This is the Giant Revolt X. Now, I've done a whole video about it and some shorts and whatnot, but I have made some other updates and changes since then, I believe. I've got the Redshift kitchen sink handlebars on there, the Fox 32 taper cast Kashima coating on the front shock. I've got the Garmin Rally XC power meter pedals, and honestly, I just love everything about this bike. It rides exactly the way I want it to. Is it the fastest gravel bike in the world? No, but I'm not the fastest gravel rider, so we're a match made in heaven. I love this bike so much, and there's just not a whole lot else to say except I love it. I love it so much. If you want to learn more about it, check the link down below to see the full rundown on this bike, because it's really freaking awesome. All right, so slightly similar, but a little bit different. This is my wife's gravel bike. This is the Giant Revolt from 2023, and it's in this beautiful Starry Night color. I think that this might be one of the best color schemes that they've ever put on a bike. It's a solid bike for the price. We upgraded the wheels because I had a spare set laying around. My wife loves this bike. She's using the Redshift top shelf handlebars, which are super interesting. Some cool bike bags from Sodero. We both run the Redshift top and drop grip set, which is super handy and nice, making the bike really, really comfortable. My wife's done all sorts of events on this, like Mid-South and a lot of the bigger gravel rides that we do around here in Austin. She absolutely loves it, and as long as she's happy, I'm happy. Now we're gonna stay with another one of my wife's bikes. This is her e-commuter bike. So she rides this to work pretty frequently. We've got some pannier bags for the back of it, awesome front and rear racks. This is the Momentum Voya E+. The Voya is a really interesting e-bike because it's made to feel super sleek and look more like just a regular bike. It's also the lightest e-bike that Momentum makes at under 40 pounds, which is pretty awesome for an e-bike. You're gonna see a couple more of these as we cycle through. We got a whole fleet of these from Momentum for my wife and my two daughters so that they could keep up when I was riding on the Pack Yak, and honestly, I love these bikes. I have had so much fun riding both Danielle's and my other daughters. They're just fun, zippy, stylish little e-bikes, and they're a total blast. Now, this is a super fun bike that sadly, I don't ride a whole lot. Really, I've never ridden it a whole lot. This is a 2013 Giant Avail frame set that I got from a mechanic friend of mine, and I built it up. Before I picked out all the components and everything I wanted to add to the bike, I actually custom painted it myself. So here in the garage, I busted out a few rattle cans and made this really, pretty surprisingly cool looking paint job on this bike. I've got a whole story highlight on my Instagram of the process, and it was a really fun project. I have to say, this thing is super fast and it's really fun, but I just don't find much use in a road bike because my gravel bike is so capable and I'm often doing commuter stuff. So this one doesn't see as much action as it probably should, but with that really awesome paint job and, my name in the decals and all the special time and energy I've put into it, it's not something I'm going to be getting rid of anytime soon. But it's a pretty cool piece of art to have up on my walls at the moment. I have to tell you, this is probably the hardest video I've ever recorded because I'm moving so many bikes around the garage, and we don't have a big garage. And so I'm just like, ugh. And now for some kids' bikes. Now, this is my youngest Voya E+. She got to choose what color she wanted and whether she wanted flat bars or drop bars. She went with the drop bars, which I'm very proud of. She was very excited about how cool they were. She wanted this blue color because it had something to do with some Demon Slayer character. I don't know. But that's why she chose it. We put on the front and rear racks, so she's got this nice milk crate on the back if she wants to carry things. This is often the bike that she'll ride when we help out with Austin Bicycle Meals, when we go as a whole family. Although she also likes to ride the Cedo when it's just me and her as well. We're super grateful to have these bikes. The girls love them, we love them. Yeah. All right, and to round out the Voya parade, this is our oldest Voya E+. She got the flat bar version, and she got it in the same green color that Danielle's bike came in. And I have to say, I ride this a fair amount. I've put probably 100-ish miles on this specific bike, and I have to say, it's a really enjoyable ride. Of course, I'm glad that my daughter likes it, but it's an added bonus that it fits me and I can ride it too. All right, so this is probably the least exciting bike that we have in the house, which means we're coming up near the end, but don't worry, I've saved the best two for last. But this is just a Retrospect Atlas, pretty basic commuter hybrid-ish-esque bike. Not particularly expensive, not particularly fancy. Our older daughter had picked this out after she had outgrown her previous bike, and we've kept it around because it makes for a great loaner bike. I've actually used this bike to teach a couple friends how to ride bikes who didn't know before, and I find that when your life is really bike-centric, it's nice to have at least a decent loaner bike hanging around. It's a medium size, fits most people. It's not a great bike, but it's certainly not a bad bike. And so we keep it around in case somebody else needs to go on a ride with us. Now I'm showing off these two at the same time because they're kind of siblings in a way. This is my 1987 Giant Iguana, and this is my wife's 1989 Giant Rincon. Both of these bikes I found as frame sets and then built up as single speeds so that I could have kind of a fun do-it-all cruiser style bike. Now I've commuted plenty on the Iguana, fun chill trips to the coffee shop and other fun places, but my wife's is mostly for cruising around. Now I love riding single speeds. They're not always practical if I'm trying to get somewhere super fast, but they're always fun if I'm in a space where I can slow down and hang out a little bit more. These bikes are just a total blast. I love knowing that these bikes have outlived their first owners, and they will for sure outlive us because, let's face it, steel is real, and these bikes were just made to keep going and going and going. Now I'll definitely do full rundowns on these bikes with all the components and whatnot that I put on them and how we end up using them. But let me know if there's another bike you want to know more about. Drop it down in the comments below. Don't forget to check out the Perk Coffee website. Until next time, remember, BDSM. Bikes do so much. I like that one. It's between that and Ride with Pride. Don't forget to let me know what y'all think.